after the sort of the big waves of labels signing every alternative band they could get. Ronald leaves, and then we're like, we get back home. Are we going to stay a band? There's like little talks around the edges. Your labels especially are these bands that we signed a couple of years ago, are they selling records? Are they doing anything? And then like a lot of bands, sort of contemporaries of ours would get dropped. There was a second that we were in the crosshairs of not only thinking ourselves, are we still a band? Warner Brothers is going through like, who are we dropping? Well, these guys aren't making us any money. What about this band? Yep, drop them. Oh, Flaming Lips. Yeah, I don't think they're making us any money. And then somebody pulled out the big ledger and said, well, actually, because I think at some point we had stopped taking tour support. So we weren't like a band that was in the red so much. We would play festivals and you'd walk through the parking lot, or even memories as a kid walking through parking lots to go see The Who or whatever band you'd go see. And people are all sort of tailgating, and they've got their car doors open and playing their stereos, and you'd walk through and it's like everybody's favorite Black Sabbath song, but it's a different one playing as you're walking through the parking lot. This sort of, I suppose, would have been the inception of that idea. Stockhausen quintet, in a forest, and then you'd walk through the forest, and then there'd be a quartet over here, and you'd walk over here, and there'd be another thing. I think that was sort of the inception of that idea for the boombox, which actually started off as basically a bunch of cassettes in cars, literally. Maybe it was kind of like a test where there's a parking garage underneath a restaurant that we would go eat at sometimes, but it happened to be, here's this parking garage, and I can't remember what the original one was, 5 cars, 10 cars, something like that, and then there were cassettes, and they'd all get played. But the cars turned into boomboxes as an easier thing to present. My job was to go to the pawn shops and go buy all the boomboxes. So we had this presentation of, there'd be a boombox orchestra on the left side and a boombox orchestra on the right side. And then, so the boomboxes had to get bought. Then we'd make sure they worked. Then they had to be rewired so that you'd plug in the headphone out, and a wire would go from the boombox to an XLR, come into a mixing board where I'd stand, and like I was the mixing engineer. And then Stephen had one side of the orchestra and Wayne had the other side, and people would sit there with the boomboxes and turn them up, turn them down, or all this sort of stuff. It's kind of funny because after a while we'd be doing this boombox thing, and then people would bring their own tapes, and then I'd have to like, who's that, and then mute them. But it was fun. There'd be enough on each side. Maybe there were even like 1 through 10 would be something, and then 11 through 15 would be like another thing, but it would all be part of this side of the orchestra, that Stephen would be conducting. Like, okay, turn that up. Okay, turn that down. And this and that. But they would all the boom boxes would route to basically a mixing board. The boombox experiment turned into Zaireeka. that was going to be 100 CD set. And then he reined everyone into like, okay, we could do 4. And then Warner's was like, sure, you could do that, but you like have to actually give us a record. An actual record that you could just put on a record player and not have to have 4 stereos to play. We were kind of making Zaireeka and what became the Soft Bulletin kind of weirdly at the same time, because songs, I think Race for the Prize was one of them super early on. It's like, that doesn't really work in the 4 CD setup. Because for Zaireeka we had, and we were using DATs to mix down to. And each DAT, 1, 2, 3, and 4, would be the master for each CD. So this would be CD number 1, and we had, I think it went clockwise. Then we'd have 2 more monitors. And that would be CD number 2, and we had 2 in the back. CD number 3, and then 2 more monitors. So it was like 4 stereos. We tried to do the song that became Race for the Prize. That's the one that sticks out in my mind. That for whatever reason didn't really work spread out all over the place. And we put that aside to say that that'll be on Soft Bulletin. 97 is when Zaireeka came out, and then Soft Bulletin came out in 99. Not sure how we got away with it. I remember when some of the songs first started going to the record label, and it was like, we're playing this stuff, and I think it's like, are my speakers broken? Like, I don't know if they understood what we were doing, or we just were like, this stuff's cool, and they like it. Like, everybody was like, whoa, hold on. It's like, it's got strings and shit. Like, what is happening here? There's no guitars on it. It's like, well, there's plenty of guitars on it, but, we really went off on a orchestration right when we were doing Zaireeka keyboards that were beyond samplers that at the time seemed like, well, this is literally an orchestra in a box, like the Roland XP80, which is what the Lips used, for me famously anyway, for Zaireeka, actually for a really long time. I remember here it is thinking like, we're a 3-piece now and we have to play these songs like we're a live band. And I think it was even nearly pulling teeth to do a guitar overdub. But I think by the time we got to the second record, we were like, we're just going to make songs and we'll figure out how to play it live later, which I think I've carried into the stuff we're doing with the Lollybombs.